We celebrate South Dakota Daughters of the American Revolution for 130 years. Welcome to the South Dakota Daughters of the American Revolution Year in Review. Chapters all across the state have been doing exciting things, so let's take a road trip to see what they have been doing to sparkle. First, let's go to Rapid City and the Black Hills chapter since that is where we are today. Rapid City is near Mount Rushmore where 3 million people visit annually. The Black Hills chapter does many service projects such as delivering Christmas goodies to the Royal American Initiative's Head Start. They had a blast marching in the Veterans Day Parade. After the parade, they presented a quilt to Gil Holsworth who fought in the Korean War. He was thrilled. Every year the chapter hangs a banner across a busy downtown street to let the community know it is Constitution Week. The chapter held a Constitution luncheon. Later in the week, one of their members dressed in her colonial dress and visited a third-grade class. Margie Rosario, Black Hills Chapter Regent, presented the Community Service Award to the Rapid City Nudge Shriners for all the wonderful support they give to children and the community. During the day of prayer at Mountain View Cemetery, a service was held for students who died at the Indian boarding school. Notice that this child survived the Wounded Knee battle when she was 7 years old. Here is the first batch of tea that 19 members sent for the 250th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party reenactment. Margie Rosario made commemorative ornaments for chapter members. Finally, here is a picture of some chapter members who attended last year's convention. Let's travel south now to Custer and the Harney Peak chapter, known for its proximity to Custer State Park, where people come to see buffalo roam. Custer is also near the gigantic Crazy Horse Memorial. The Harney Peak chapter gives books to the Custer City Library. 6 chapter members toured Operation Black Hills Cabin and gave money and a book for their library. Harney Peak chapter member Donatelli received a quilt of valor from the Hill City Quilters Guild. During Constitution Week, the chapter made displays and put them in the libraries in Custer and surrounding towns. On First Responders Day, they gave cookies to the Edgemont Ambulance Service. Christmas wreaths were placed on graves in the Custer Cemetery as part of Wreaths Across America. They sponsored 124 wreaths this year. Here chapter regent, Cynthia Nelson, is placing a banner on just one of the daughters' graves they decorated for Memorial Day. Harney Peak chapter members attended a flag retirement ceremony held by the American Legion. They made comfort kits for military personnel through Operation Gratitude. On the 4th of July, members gave out Patriot dogs on Patriot Alley. The contributions that were given by the public went to the Custer County Veterans Office. Let's now go to Belfouche, which is the geographical center of the nation. The Catherine Tybo chapter loves to host meetings at the Tri-State Museum and welcomes everyone to come to Belfouche to explore its history. Each year, the Catherine Tybo chapter donates a flag to the High Plains Heritage Museum, and they meet in this beautiful spearfish setting. In May each year, chapter members place a wreath representing DAR for veterans at various locations around the Black Hills. Reich was honored at the Pine Slopes Cemetery in Belfouche. In June, the Catherine Tybo chapter celebrated 10 years as a chapter with its members. Here are the founding members present at the 10-year celebration. Several members attended the naturalization ceremony, where 198 new citizens were sworn in. This ceremony is held each year at Mount Rushmore National Memorial. South Dakota Regent, Kathy Terrell, visited with Catherine Tybo chapter members and presented awards from the Fall Board of Management meeting. Chapter member, Pat Main, shared the Good Citizen Award she was awarded in 1967. Lastly, Susan Frog donated countless hours working on the orders, delivering, and placing wreaths for veterans. Now, we go on to Pierre and the Spirit of the Prairie chapter. Pierre is the state's capital and sits near the middle of the state. Their chapter presented the American Legion Post-8 with a $5,000 check to build a canopy over the deck on the river side of their building. This is Ted Spencer being pinned by his granddaughter. He is in home hospice. Here are chapter members with the Vietnam veterans they pinned at Oneida. During the ceremony, They displayed and discussed the Vietnam commemoration flag. Rebecca Wallingford, her son, Leo, and Regent, Betsy Pollock, held the flag. These are the men of the Vietnam Era Veterans Association at the pinning ceremony. What a nice group photo of the veterans who received a pin. Finally, here is a beautiful picture of Carlos Air and Chapter Regent, Betsy Pollock, at Carlos Pollinator Garden. Let's go to the eastern part of the state to Sioux Falls and the Mary Chilton chapter. Sioux Falls, the largest city in South Dakota, is known for its beautiful falls, especially when they are illuminated at night. Mary Chilton ladies made soldier handouts that were given out at their booth at the South Dakota State Fair and the Women's Expo. They love to go out to the Sioux Falls Airport to welcome veterans back from Washington, D.C. on the honor flight. The chapter does many other service projects such as acting as docents at the historic cabin in Pioneer Lane, as well as lining up the local municipal band to highlight John Philip Sousa's Stars and Stripes Forever March. They serve meals at the West Side Banquet during the National Day of Service. Here is their Christmas tree at the Military Heritage Alliance. They decorated it with the names of all of the patriots of the members of the chapter. Michelle McElroy, Chapter Regent, recognized Kay and Steve Cook with the Community Service Award for their work with Habitat for Humanity. The chapter had fun ringing bells during Constitution Week with all the other bells across America. And finally, they honored their departed sisters by putting flags on their graves for Memorial Day. What a lovely gesture of remembrance. Next, let's visit Brookings, South Dakota and the Medarry chapter. Brookings is the home of the largest university in the state, South Dakota State University. It's a prosperous college town and a great place to live. The Medarry chapter loves being in their local 4th of July parade. Who wouldn't love to ride down Main Street in a red convertible? Chapter Regent Lori Larson presented a young lady with the Good Citizen Award while her parents looked on proudly. Here Medarry ladies celebrated Governor's Day with our state's Governor Kristi Noem. Medarry awarded the Medal of Honor to Jean Murphy with State Regent Catherine Terrell looking on. Here, they are posing for a picture with their Memorial Day wreath. They celebrated Shirley's 50th anniversary of being a member of the DAR. The Medarry Monument was restored by the Medarry chapter and they purchased the bench to set near it. Lastly, here is a sweet family picture of 3 generations of DAR ladies. How great is that? We will visit Clark and the Laura Ingalls Wilder chapter next. These communities are rural and extremely widespread, from De Smet, South Dakota, to the Minnesota border and the North Dakota border. The chapter is named for the Laura Ingalls Wilder, whose family homestead is near De Smet. She was the author of the popular Little House on the Prairie books about her growing up in a pioneer family. Here we see the chapter working on their Veterans Day service project of painting patriotic star hanging ornaments. The chapter visited veterans on Veterans Day at the Watertown Assisted Living Facility. Member Celia Wade Schroeder distributes those handmade Veterans Day stars at the Watertown Assisted Living Facility. Member Judy Prohl is distributing Veterans Day thank you letters. They couldn't forget to visit their life member Ramona Moyu Strud. The Laura Ingalls Wilder chapter had a booth at the Watertown Sea of Good Hope Appreciation event. The chapter in 2023 took a field trip to the historic Nicollet Tower. From the top there is a breathtaking view of 3 states. The 3 Musketeers made it to the top. Onward to Aberdeen and the James River Valley chapter. Frank Baum, the author of The Wizard of Oz, lived in Aberdeen in his earlier years. Storybook Land, Land of Oz is an enchanting amusement park that offers a magical experience for children and adults alike. On the day of service, the James River chapter went to the Salvation Army store to sort clothing and put them on the floor to sell. The chapter ladies took a field trip to the Pickler Mansion, which is the historic home of Major John and Alice Pickler in Fulton. Susan B. Anthony slept here at the Pickler Mansion when she came to the area. The James River Valley chapter sponsored this bench in Wiley Park to celebrate Stars and Stripes Forever. The ladies went to the Wayside Cemetery and took 200 pictures for Find a Grave. Finally, here they are at their Christmas celebration at the end of the year 2023. We are traveling next to Yankton and the Daniel Newcomb chapter. In 1909, The building, now known as the Mead Museum, was built and served as patient housing for women as part of the Yankton State Hospital. On December 7, 1913, DAR came to town when annual Newcomb chapter was chartered in Yankton. Here we are at Greenwood Presbyterian Cemetery in Wagner, South Dakota, which houses the grave of Miss Jane Smith Williamson, daughter of a Revolutionary soldier. Annually, we clean her burial site and stone and place a floral piece. State Regent Kathy Terrell and State Recording Secretary Deb Van Briesen joined several members for an informal lunch before visiting the Yankton Cemetery, where South Dakota's DAR real daughter, Charlotte Warrington Turner, is buried. Nancy Gary chapter from Nebraska spent the day with us in Yankton. After lunch, we met for a docent-guided tour of the Mead Building. Members from both chapters are shown on the marble staircase. Following the Mead Building tour, we visited the Yankton Cemetery for a group picture at Charlotte Warrington Turner's grave. As South Dakota's only real daughter, her grave site gets quite a few DAR visitors. I wish we could have met her. This array of cards kicked off the 1A day. Write a thank you to a veteran project. At the August Board of Management, Daniel Newcomb chapter contributed 289 cards. Way to go, ladies. In July, we met at St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Vermilion. The Indian Christ artwork from a design by well-known Native American artist Oscar Howe is behind and above the altar. During the State Regent's visit in September, we presented Vermilion Library Director Daniel Burniston with a copy of Her Name Was Mary Catherine, the only woman whose name is on the Declaration of Independence. Annually, the Mead Building hosts a Hall of Trees exhibit as a fundraiser for the Yankton County Historical Society. In 2022, we had a tree on display so the community would know we were here. This year, it was all about Daniel Newcomb and how our chapter has been here 110 years. And we plan to stay. On December 7, 2023, one of our newest members, Barbara Black, hosted a 110th birthday party. Each of the 10 members present shared their DAR story. It was a fun, interesting, and entertaining time. We gained 5 new members in the last 6 months of 2023. We are here to stay. We are ending our tour of the state of South Dakota in Mitchell with the Fire Steel chapter. Mitchell is the location of the world's only corn palace. The exterior is decorated with murals made of corn. It hosts concerts, basketball games, and community events. At the South Dakota State Fair, the Fire Steel chapter had a booth and got phone numbers for 35 prospective members. At the 2023 State Conference, the Fire Steel chapter presented a quilt of valor to Bill Stallman, who is a Vietnam veteran. Here, 2 chapter members are pictured with other ladies from other states at the Welcome Home celebration in Washington, D.C. last summer. The chapter had a membership drive in Huron. This picture is of one of their speakers, Roger Cashman, who is 95 years old and from Wessington Springs. He shared the history of the town. The chapter had some fun going to see the annual Christmas tree display at the state capitol. DAR has a tree in the display every year. Last of all, their honorary regent, Janine Blecker, did a talk on Christmas in the 1700s. It was an excellent presentation. One of their members decorated the Carnegie Resource Center in Mitchell, where they have their meetings. As you can see, South Dakota Daughters are purpose-driven, active women who want to share their love of preserving history, doing community service, and educating our children. They love to honor and support our veterans with quilts of valor, visits to nursing homes, and small gifts of remembrance. We are proud to be the South Dakota Daughters of the American Revolution.